Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one. We're going to be looking at the brand new sneak peek leaks of Kiki, the new 8x8 underwater city big grasslands map that got leaked last week. It was first shown to us on the PUBG partner briefing. We're not allowed to share any of the videos or images of the map, but eventually, as most things do, it did get leaked, so I figured it's okay for me to talk about it now. So let's go ahead and break down some of the images that we have seen floating around the internet. And let's just kind of talk about what we see, what we don't see, and guess at what's to come for the Kiki map. In addition, we're going to take a look at why Haven has been delayed. Because if you don't remember, Haven was supposed to be here with Season 15. And a good buddy of mine, Bluesane, actually reminded me about PUBG acquiring an interesting game development studio that might hint at what's to come for the brand new map Kiki. Let's take a look. All right, so first things first, Alex, the PUBG dev. If you guys don't know, this is an account that's like, it's a PUBG dev memeing by, like, it's just not an official account, but it's some developer at PUBG who creates this account and posts leaks and stuff of PUBG and whatever. But they had an interesting tweet the other day. Well, when was this tweet? December 14th, I guess? Oh, no, 13th. So they asked about feedback on update 15.1. Then Pubg said, what happened to the return of Haven? It was dramatically swept from under us, Haven lovers' feet. And if you don't remember, the PUBG, sorry for the big bright white lights, they don't allow dark mode here. PUBG put out their big map rotation plan that I made a video on about a month or 2 months ago now. And in this video, it said that season 15, we were supposed to be getting Vikendi and Haven. Yet here we are, season 15, and all we have is Vikendi. No Haven, and they didn't put in its place Paramo or Karakin. So there's no small map technically in the rotation this season. Now, Alex, the PUBG dev, tweeted, Haven's return is still in our near-term plans. We were getting Haven ready, making sure bots work nicely with the kill trucks and such. But after feedback on our initial map rotation plan and changing up the rotation to what it is now, we had to shift resources away from Haven. So hopefully they're looking to get that in maybe by season 16 and, just shift the map rotations down a bit from there. Because personally, Haven, I think, is PUBG's most unique map to date. It provided the most unique gunplay experience with a small, close quarter nighttime city map with interesting use of AI, with the spotting helicopter, with the kill truck, which I think you should be able to shoot and disable, but that's another topic. And in my opinion, the best use of AI in PUBG that we've seen to date, where the AI factions are in those buildings that you have to choose to go and engage with to kill them and get the gear, or you could just avoid them altogether and never have to experience the bots in the game. So I thought that was a really cool map, and I was looking forward to having it back, especially being able to play solos and duos. So with it being delayed, that sucks, but if they're making improvements to it, I'm all for that. What I think is really cool, and which is going to kind of lead us to our next topic, is I think Haven is PUBG's test map for parts of the new Kiki map. So let's pull up Kiki. So player IGN tweeted this out yesterday. Yesterday, PUBG's new 8x8 devastated urban map with cypress swamps, an outdoor stage, submerged cities, and solar and wind farms coming the second half of 2022. An update video, the map is prepared for March. So the map, we've been told, is mid-2022. That's what was told to us in the PUBG partner briefing, mid-2022. March is going to be the Survivor Pass. So that's the next Survivor Pass, is March 2022. But let's take a look at the actual leaked images. Now, these are what appear to be cropped images of the actual video that was shown. You can see PUBG partner briefing at the top, and whatever like the map nomenclature and stuff was down here. That's all been kind of cropped out. But I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to just break down each image and just kind of get a feel for the vibe that we can be looking forward to with Kiki. Because honestly, from everything I've seen and heard so far, this is going to be my favorite map. I don't know, a lot of people say that with every new map. I think this map is going to have like the best of everything that PUBG has to offer. I really do. So this first image we get here is of one of the cities. I think there's multiple cities, if I'm not mistaken, or at least it's large enough to where each different side of the city looks different. So this particular side, you have the typical PUBG bridge. You know, this looks like a same construction as the one on Erangel, although it is missing, the side steps here. You got a lot of buildings in the city, and if you have played Haven, you know that most of the buildings you can get into from the bottom, but a lot of the windows are blocked out where you can't shoot from those windows, so that you don't have to worry about like, oh my God, I'm walking through the city and there's 50 different angles that could be shooting me at one time. Haven wasn't like that, which I thought was really good, because that was one of my concerns about a big city map was, man, everyone's going to be camping windows and shooting you like at weird angles, but I didn't think it was like that. But looking at this image, you've got a lot of these glass buildings where it's just all glass. And so that kind of leads me to believe that you're not going to be able to shoot out of a lot of these buildings, but instead it might be more of a vertical play on top of the buildings. And I think this is going to be PUBG's first attempt at zip lines or some kind of grapple or rappelling mechanic. That's just my guess here. We have nothing to say that. But if you remember on Haven, the only way to get from roof to roof, like after you get into the building, was picking up the redeployable parachute, which is the first map that we saw that on. And that was a fantastic item. It was super fun. It added another layer of the gameplay. And I think with this, you can see how a lot of the buildings are like pretty close together, but not crazy height differences for the most part. So it would be kind of hard to jump to and from. But imagine if you could zip line from here to here or from here to the crane, like that kind of mechanic. I think would be really fun for this environment. Then if you take a look at what's surrounding, this is what appears to be solar panels. So there's a lot of, again, just guessing, solar panels here along the buildings, on the ground, kind of angled up in certain different directions. And then here you see the road kind of disappears. And this is where this map is going to be interesting, and why I think the new developer that PUBG acquired might be hinting at a new feature, a new way to explore Kiki is to come. So you can see the road just kind of disappears into the water here. And then you have the kind of traditional warehouse layout of PUBG. You know, you land 3 or 4 different warehouses, typically a good bit of loot there. So you don't have to hot drop in the city. You can land on the outskirts like in Los Leones, get some loot, and then kind of work your way into the city. But a lot of the warehouses rather are underwater. And so we all know that PUBG's water movement and fighting mechanics aren't the best, which is why I'm thinking that they acquired this new studio to help improve that. And we'll get to that in a second. So, okay, so I think that's enough of this one. The only comment, just a quick comment I'll say, is obviously it's a daytime setting. I really, really hope that they implement a night mode like Haven, or at the very least, like on Miramar, how you have the dusk in the morning and the evenings setting, how it's different shades of light and the sun's at different points in the sky and stuff. Excuse me. Really hope we get that implementation with Kiki. All right, the next image here is at some kind of festival arena. So you have the big stage. It's actually multiple stages. It's kind of like the more I think about it, I really wonder if this map is in Louisiana. For those who don't know, I'm from Louisiana. It's a state in North America, and they have the cypress swamps, which is down here in the south. And it'd be really interesting if this whole area was like kind of about Louisiana, or maybe like south parts of Florida or something like that. But anyway, so you get this big like festival area, big tall speakers, a number of stages, so a good bit of places to drop in loot, but a lot of open ground to fight in. So you probably don't want to get caught rotating over the middle. It's probably more a let's kind of work around the edges and get loot here and there. How funny would it be though? I say funny, how cheeky would it be to land on top of this guy up here? this big what do you call it, balloon thing. If you have like the redeployable parachute and the emergency parachute thing, land on top of this guy and you have a nice sniping perch, that would be cool. Equally cool would be if you're on the ground and you know an enemy's up here, if you can go interact with these wires and chop down the wires and then brings down the freaking the balloon thing and like kills whoever's on it, that'd be kind of cool. Okay, so let's go next. So here again, you're getting heavy laid on thick vibes of water battles, water exploration. So here you have another city. And again, what I was saying before, how it might be multiple cities, I was trying to look at common buildings. You see this one here it looks like the tallest building in this image, maybe this one. If we go back, that kind of looks like this building here. So maybe this image is like the backside of the city, because you have like that tall one there and that tall one, and then you have this tall one and that tall one. So maybe, or it's a whole another city. More likely it's the same, but maybe. We're spitballing here. Okay, where was it? Okay, so you have the city. There's more what appears to be solar panels everywhere here and all around this like stadium, and everything is flooded. Because at first I didn't know this was like actual flooded, but you can see the water is like over the base of all the buildings. So think a lot of boat action, a lot of jet skis, but you're going to want another way to navigate this area, these buildings, which is why I think zip lines, a way to stay on top of the city's skyline, is going to be really important. And some of the buildings are designed with these little step guys in them, and that might just be like they need to add textures and all that kind of stuff, because obviously it's very alpha footage looking, but that might be a way to clamber up or navigate the buildings. I think this one had the same kind of like design. You see it's like a little step. Maybe you can't get on top of that way, but maybe it is. Maybe it's a way you can kind of grapple up there. So the next image here is, now this is for sure a different area, but it's got a lot of similar themes. Underwater. The entire area is underwater, but this looks like it's been constructed on top of the water. You got these floating walkways, these floating panels, a lot of these solar panel farms here. Not many areas to potentially get loot though. That's kind of worrisome. If you were to land here, this looks like you're kind of in a death bowl. Like the only reason I think you'd probably go here is if you the circle ends here, that would be one reason. But you can see a lot of buildings along the edge of the water, so a lot of potential areas to loot. What appears to be more of those solar panels here, kind of spread throughout the map. Obviously big wind turbines. This wind turbine is actually knocked down, which we'll get to another image in a second. It kind of creates a cool little pathway. And also ramps, which again makes me think way more heavy vehicle usage, fun interaction stuff with jet skis and boats. There is an image of a boat here, but it's really, I can't even zoom in on this guy, can I? No. But it's really hard to tell if that is the traditional PUBG boat or if that's a new one, because if you look really closely, it kind of looks a little bigger. Like it looks like it's taller and potentially a new style of boat, which would be really cool. Maybe a gun boat, like actual guns on the front or the back would be really cool. Would be really, really cool. But then also just to contrast from the, city engagement, from the island engagement, look at all these big rolling hills, like very, very Miramar-esque with obviously grass and not so much, a desert or dirt. But I love the vibe of like having fights out here. Circle rotates down in the center. You got to get kind of in the thick trees and the almost sand hockey little small part of the map. Like I like the diversity. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the diversity standpoint. That's why I think this might be one of the most unique maps PUBG's ever made. That's not all. So we back out. He had another image here. So this one again is of the city. This is a further back shot of the image we just looked at a couple screens ago. This guy here. So this is a close-up image of the city here. And then if we go back to the new one, this is boom. We're kind of back left of that same image. So the other image was taken over here, and now we're back here. And this is why I think this map might actually be like where I'm from in Louisiana, or like in South Florida or something like that, because this looks like a peninsula connecting island to island. And you can tell this isn't like a bridge that was built over it where they knew water was here and now we're building a bridge to cross it. No, this is like water has slowly eroded the ground that the civilization was built on. And you see here, all these are all pylons where a house used to be. You see this house here, the pylons that it's on, how this house is destroyed. The roof is missing a lot of panels. Parts of the roof are off. The wind turbines knocked down. You can tell a big hurricane came through this place and boom, just demolished it. And now it's flooded. And I mean, if you know anything about like Hurricane Katrina with New Orleans, like that big arena could be like the Superdome, and it all flooded in the city. Like it gives me vibes of my hometown, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it would be really cool to like fight inside of that too. So so you got all the destruction from a potential what I think is a hurricane. You got the downed wind turbine, which creates an access route across the water, so you don't have to swim across. You can actually go through the wind turbine's tube structure, give you a little more cover when you're rotating. Some other buildings and whatnot to kind of land and loot on. It's really, really cool looking at it. I think it's going to be a fun place to interact and fight. Then this is the image that PUBG actually, allowed us to release. And so this was the swamp, the cypress swamp area. And it's really funny because like where I drive to work every day, I literally drive past this scene. Like on the interstate, I look to the right, boom, there's this image here. There's Kiki on my right. And you got a little swamp hut back here. Bunch of, cypress trees and moss. So you see all this stuff hanging here is moss. And obviously, you don't want to be in here. Like this is going to be terrible to walk in PUBG, right? Because of the movement and everything. So they got to be developing more mechanics or vehicles or ways to navigate water. So I'm thinking like airboat would be perfect for this map. Different types of bigger boats with guns on them. And what I think would be probably the coolest of them all are some type of submarine. Now, hear me out. I'm not talking about like a US nuclear sub. 15 people can get on it, or I guess fucking like 60 people get on it, like a real sub. I'm talking like 1 to 2 man personal, like Navy SEAL type of hold on to it. It's got a little propeller and boom, you go. And it has an oxygen tank on it or something like that. Something that helps you navigate shallow-ish waters without having to expose yourself on top would be really, really cool if they implemented something like that. And why I think that's possible is because a few months back in October, Krafton acquired Unknown Worlds Entertainment. Unknown Worlds Entertainment is the studio who developed the hit title Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. And for those who aren't familiar with what Subnautica is, it's an heavily based underwater video game with all kinds of like exploration and story missions and all that kind of stuff. But they know how to work underwater mechanics. They know how to work underwater movements and looting underwater and like interaction with the environment, all that kind of stuff. Like, look at this little guy holding on to this little self-propelled, little underwater machine with a mask on, the oxygen tank and all that kind of stuff. So this company, I'm not saying they are working on Kiki, but it'd be very interesting timing that Krafton acquires them in October of 2021, and Kiki is slated to come out mid-2022, and it's a heavily influenced water map. A flooded water map is like basically how they're advertising it. So that's why I'm saying I think there's going to be some very unique ways to interact with the new map. So zip lines across buildings, above water and potentially underwater mechanics, and just what appears to be a very, very diverse map to give multiple different methods of engagement on. And again, for me, it's shaping up to be, in my opinion, one of PUBG's best maps. Obviously, we have a long time to go till we get to play it, but hopefully we'll get to see more of the actual polished version and more information, before May or June of this year. So, okay, I know this was kind of a longer video, but it was a fun one. I love talking about like what ifs and like lore videos and all that kind of stuff. So let me know your comments below, what you think about what we just saw in Kiki, what you would like to see if we haven't seen it already on some new features or mechanics that would be kind of cool to interact with on Kiki. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a buddy, and get subscribed if you're new to the channel. I have a bunch more PUBG content coming your way. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.